最近朋友推荐了我这个产品，叫做 Odyssey。Odyssey 的中文翻译呢是小奥。它呢为什么叫小奥呢？因为有一个产品，这是小奥的产品呢是从 Kinder 一直到8年级，然后有个 corresponding 的产品叫大奥。大奥呢是给高中生的。然后今天我们只讲小奥哈，然后里面呢有英文和数学。那我们去英文的部分去。进了英文部分呢，这上面有6、7、83个年级，你可以随便选。然后在6年级里面呢，有这些不同的项目你可以做。好，我们我们想点一个比较高一点，哦，这是7年级，还有8年级哦。那我们就看6年级吧。6年级哈，在6年级里面呢有 language skill，我们点一下哈，做一个小小的 demo 一下。嗯。
Let's start by going over what you already know about pronouns. You already know that a pronoun is a word used in place of a noun. Pronouns can be used to replace the names of people, animals, or things. Some of the pronouns you commonly use are I, my, him, her, you, we, it, our, us, and them. Look at these example sentences. The students watched Derek's presentation on the solar system. It gave them lots of good information. Did you notice which words the pronouns replaced? Yep. It stands for the noun presentation, and them stands for the noun students. Pronouns sound simple enough, right? But they're not always that easy. And if they're used in the wrong way, they can make what you say different from what you mean. Today, we're going to look at recognizing errors in pronoun usage, and then correcting them. Let's start by looking at the mistake August made, which turned one Madeline into two. Here's what August wrote. Madeline loaned me their notes. There's just one Madeline, and the notes belong to her. This was a mistake in pronoun number. Therefore, August should have used the pronoun her, like this. Madeline loaned me her notes. Pronouns should agree in number with the nouns they stand for. This means when you're talking about one person, place, thing, or idea, use a singular pronoun. When you're talking about more than one, use a plural pronoun. Pronouns should also agree in person with the nouns they stand for. When you're talking about yourself or a group you belong to, use first-person pronouns. When you're talking to someone or to a group, use second-person pronouns. When you're talking about other people, animals, ideas, or objects, use third-person pronouns. Let's look at some examples of singular pronouns. To describe yourself, use first-person pronouns like I, me, my, and myself. To talk to someone, use second-person pronouns like you, your, and yourself. To talk about one male person, use third-person pronouns like he, him, his, or himself. To talk about one female person, use third-person pronouns like she, her, hers, or herself. To talk about an object, use third-person pronouns like it, its, or itself. To talk about animals, you can use male or female pronouns if the animal is known, such as a pet. But if the animal is not known, you can use inanimate pronouns. There are different pronouns for plural nouns, nouns that describe more than one person, place, or thing. To describe yourself and other people or animals, use first-person pronouns like we, us, our, or ourselves. To talk to a group of people, use the second-person pronouns you, your, and yourselves. To talk about groups of people, animals, or objects, use the third-person pronouns they, their, them, or themselves. Now let's look at some examples of pronouns in action. Here are some examples of singular pronouns used correctly. He walked his dog around the block. My backpack was heavy, so I left it at school. You have a great t-shirt on, Emily. And here are some examples of plural pronouns used correctly. We ate our dinner at the picnic table. They hurried home after their baseball game. Now let's see some pronouns being used incorrectly. Here's a sentence that is describing two people, you and Jamie. You and Jamie bought lunch for yourself. However, the pronoun is singular, yourself. The pronoun's number does not match what it's replacing. The sentence should be, you and Jamie bought lunch for yourselves. By making the pronoun plural, it's now correct in number. Here is a pronoun that doesn't match the person. Mr. Torres gives a lot of homework in their class. The sentence should be, Mr. Torres gives a lot of homework in his class. By making the pronoun singular, it's now correct in number. His replaces Mr. Torres. Other errors in number happen because a phrase ends in a plural. The pod of whales is making their way north. The writer used the pronoun their to replace the word whales. However, the pronoun actually replaces the word pod, so the correct pronoun is its. Notice how the verb is also singular. You could shorten the sentence to say, the pod is making its way north. Shifting to third person plural or second person midway through a sentence is another common mistake. See if you can recognize which pronoun should be replaced. Examples. A student should take their seat when class begins. When a student feels ill, you should go to the nurse's office right away. A singular third person subject, such as a student, needs to be replaced by a singular third person pronoun, such as he, him, his, or she, her, hers. Another common problem is vague pronouns. When you read a sentence, it should be clear what a pronoun is supposed to replace. The word or phrase that is being replaced is called the antecedent. If the antecedent isn't clear, the pronoun is vague. Look at the following sentence with a clear antecedent. We bought some popcorn, and Carson ate it all. The pronoun it clearly refers to the noun popcorn. Popcorn is the antecedent for the pronoun it. Let's look at another example. We had popcorn at the movie, but Carson didn't like it. Here, the pronoun it does not have a clear noun antecedent. In this sentence, popcorn and movie are both possible antecedents for the pronoun it. So, it's hard to tell if Carson didn't like the popcorn or if he didn't like the movie. When pronouns are vague or unclear, it's difficult to determine the meaning of the sentence. The sentence can easily be fixed to make the pronoun clearer. A noun can be substituted to replace the vague pronoun. Or the sentence can be rephrased. We had popcorn at the movie, but Carson didn't like having the same old snack. Here we replace the vague pronoun with a phrase. In both cases, the sentence is clearer. Now you got it. Let's take another look at what you learned about pronouns in this lesson. Pronouns should agree with the nouns they replace in number and in person. Singular pronouns should replace singular nouns. Plural pronouns should replace plural nouns. And always make sure that personal pronouns match the first, second, and third person nouns they replace. Don't forget to watch out for shifty pronouns that change from third person singular to second person or third person plural. Finally, every pronoun should clearly refer to an antecedent. Correct vague pronouns by adding a noun or by rephrasing the sentence.
OK，我们刚刚做了一个 pronoun 的东西哈，我们再回到 language skill 里面去。language arts，language arts 里面的 vocabulary skill 我看了一下，觉得不错。我们看一下 synonym 好吗？Let's do the very first one.
Imagine this. JT looks in the mirror one day and notices that the growth of his right antler is peculiar. What is the synonym of the word peculiar? Strange, similar, ordinary? Or if you don't know what synonym means, just let me. So I guess you know. The synonym of a word is another word that means the same thing. Let's say we give you a little more practice.
Hello and welcome to the Old Time Word Show. I have some wonderful guests today. Let's begin. Hi, what do you have here?
This word is getting on my nerves, I'll tell ya. I was sitting in a movie theater trying to watch a movie. This guy was sitting behind me and he kept trying to provoke me with this word. He was poking me with it. He would just not leave me alone. I'm telling you, he was driving me crazy.
I see. Well, this word is pronounced provoke.
Provoke. It's maddening.
And the definition of provoke is to make angry.
Well, that guy sure made me angry. I could barely contain the volcano of fury that is built up inside of me.
Okay, maybe if you count to 10 slowly, you'll relax a little. All right, student, let me ask you a question. When you try to make someone angry, like that person did to Fast Sammy in the theater, you provoke them. Now, what word could you use as a synonym for the word bother? If you provoke Fast Sammy, you also bother Fast Sammy.
9 and 10. Much better. That counting to 10 really helps. I've almost forgotten about that guy who was trying to provoke me.
Yeah, that's so strange. Sounds like that guy was just trying to make you angry.
And he sure did. And what did I do to deserve that? Nothing. So, except maybe the hat.
The hat? What do you mean, the hat?
Well, I was wearing my 10-gallon hat. That pretty much blocked his view of the whole movie screen.
Oh, gee, do you think that might have provoked him a little bit?
Oh, maybe. Either that or the fact that I accidentally dumped a giant bucket of buttered popcorn on his head.
Hello, Nigel. What word have you brought us today?
My sister made me bring this word in. I feel such malice toward my sister because she makes me do things I don't want to do. She bosses me around and she treats me like some sort of servant. I hate her, I tell you. Hate her, hate her, hate her.
All right. Settle down, Nigel. Your word is pronounced malice.
Malice.
Yes. The definition of malice is feelings of hatefulness.
Hatefulness? Well, that is indeed what I feel towards my sister. Oh, I wish I could just...
Now, Nigel. Nobody likes a hater. Don't hate, vocabulate.
Oh!
Now let's check in with our expert. Nigel's sister really treats him poorly, and because of this, he feels malice toward her. Which word could you use? Meanness. If you feel malice, that's the same thing as feeling meanness.
I feel both of those things towards my nasty sister.
She does sound like a horrible person.
What? Are you insulting my sister? My own flesh and blood? How dare you speak ill of my favorite sibling?
You know, Nigel, I'm feeling a little malice toward you right now. Hello, Feathers. What word have you brought for us today?
Well, this word has a totally embarrassing story. We had this fancy party for the glue club I belonged to, and when I was there, I had no idea that this word managed to adhere to the back of my dress. Too much static clinging, I guess. It was stuck there the entire night for everyone to see. I was so embarrassed.
What a story! Well, the word you've brought us is pronounced adhere.
Adhere. Ugh, I'm blushing just thinking about it.
The definition of adhere is to stick to something.
To stick to something. I'll remember that. It's going to adhere to my memory forever.
Feathers, if anyone can pull off a word adhered to her backside, it's you. Let's move on to our question. Let's say Feathers wants to adhere a glue club poster to the wall. With which synonym could you replace the word adhere? Separate, suction, attach. Uh-huh. Attach. Another way of saying you want to adhere a poster to the wall is to say you want to attach it to the wall.
I'm going to get some glue right now and start putting up my posters.
Sure, but you can also just use tape.
Tape? If I wanted to adhere things with tape, I'd join the tape club. Duh!
Oh, excuse me. I don't know what I was thinking.
Sheesh! Next thing you know, you'll want me to adhere things with thumbtacks. And that's just plain nuts!
然后我们现在进去看看数学的部分，很快的哈。数学呢，我们也看一下6年级吧。我找一个 fraction，看他教的好不好。就这个吧。
And now it's time for Math News Now. Breaking news. Math News has uncovered a simple way of determining if a number is divisible by 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, and 10. With more on determining divisibility, here's a man with more determination than a chicken crossing a 4-lane highway, Dan Anchorman!
Thanks, Dijon. That's right. I'm Dan Anchorman, and my hair looks magnificent in this light. To the news. What appears to be an ancient tablet containing divisibility rules was recently found at the home of mathematician Lord Roddington. Let's find out more.
I don't believe anyone called you ancient, sir. I believe the reference was to the tablet.
Well, it was my grandmummy's. Smart woman she was. She knew lots about divisibility. Grandmummy always said to start with the number 2. Any number is divisible by 2 if the last digit in the number is even. Numbers like 12, 26, 3,338, 73,950, and 34, all divisible by 2 because their last digits are even. You can tell a number is divisible by 4 if the last 2 digits form a number divisible by 4. That means you can ignore all the numbers except the last 2. 16, 104, 224, 89,720, and 9,940. These are all divisible by 4 because the last 2 digits form numbers that are divisible by 4. A number is divisible by 5 if the last digit is a 5 or a 0. 25, 480, 990, 75,620, and 1,000,005, for example. Grandmummy also said that divisibility by 10 is the easiest of all. And she was right. The rule says if the last digit in a number is 0, then that number is divisible by 10. Simple as that. So, numbers like 40, 120, 8,750, 11,190, and 1,030,030 are all divisible by 10. Ah, I miss my grandmummy.
What happened to her?
She moved to Pennsylvania.
I'm certainly glad Grandmummy left such detailed information. I hope it helped. If you need to see it again, no sweat. Or are you ready to move on? True or false? 30 is divisible by 2, 4, 5, and 10. That statement is false. 2, 5, and 10 will go evenly into 30. 4, however, doesn't. How did I know this? Well, I made this short list of multiples of 4, and 30's not on it. How many of the following numbers are divisible by 4 and 5? 20, 35, 60. Two numbers, 20 and 60, are divisible by 4 and 5. Which number is divisible by 2 and 4? "32 is divisible by 2 and 4. 2 can divide all of the numbers evenly, but 4 can't divide the other numbers without a remainder. Which number is divisible by 5 and 10? 20. D is the correct answer. I know this because the last digit in 9,450 is a 0. Therefore, the number is divisible by 5 and 10. Which number is divisible by 4 and 5? 88. 95. C is the right answer. The last two digits are divisible by 4, and 180 is divisible by 5 because the last digit is a 0. Which of the following statements is always true? A number that ends in 5 is divisible by 10. A number that ends in 0 is always divisible by 4. A number that ends in 8 is divisible by 2. A number that ends in 4 is... C is the correct answer. A number that ends in 8 is always divisible by 2. More breaking news! Lord Roddington has just revealed the next set of notes from Grandmummy Roddington. The divisibility of the numbers 3, 6, and 9. This is so... exciting. Back to you, Lord Roddington.
Where were we? Ah, yes! Here's me and Grandmummy at the fair the time I lost my balloon. This is when we went deep-sea fishing.
The photos are great, but I think our friend would like to know more about the divisibility rules.
Ah, yes.